Hello friends, welcome to CEC Gurukul Lectures. Dear friends, we are here for you again with our series on career counseling called Pratibha Sambardhan. In our previous sessions, we have discussed on IoT, that is Internet of Things. Dear friends, today we are going to discuss in detail what IoT is and what are its transformative applications. And for this session, we have with us in our studios Mr. Rakesh Bhatia. Mr. Rakesh Bhatia is a software professional. He has given 2 decades to the software industry, as well as we would like to tell you all that he is a career counselor who keeps on giving a deep insight to the students who wants to be into the sciences field or technology or engineering field. So let's welcome our guest, Mr. Rakesh Bhatia, and let's try to understand first of all what IoT is. Hello sir, welcome to the lecture.
Hello ma'am. So IoT basically means any hardware which is intelligent. So to explain by example, we have in the age of today, we have many sensors around us. So we have smart watches. So people are wearing smart watches which measure sometimes blood pressure or oxygen saturation and various other things. There is also application in terms of smart home. So there could be a simple sensor which detects movement in a closed space. For example, in this room, if there is no movement for 10 minutes, then the sensor might switch off the light. So basically what it means is that IoT is any hardware which is intelligent and can take some basic action based on whatever the condition it is programmed for. For example, when there is no movement, then sensor can switch off the light, or when there is movement, then it can switch on the lights. So basically IoT means this. So in addition to this, we have sensors at many places. For example, there are sensors in field of agriculture, there are sensors in field of animal detection, animal preservation, etc., and we will discuss all these things in detail in the this session only. So what are the components of IoT? Like one, hardware, and it has to be connected to a internet. So those are the 2 main components of any IoT system. Of course, there is a communication system. For example, the hardware and the internet, they will talk based on some language, so it is a computer language, it could be a protocol. So based on this will be a IoT system. Now coming back to the uses of IoT. So the IoT can be used in various different applications. Okay, the different applications of IoT, for example, it is used, as I said, in healthcare, for patient monitoring, for perimeter monitoring. For example, if somebody crosses a line, it can be used in security. Somebody is crossing a line, then there will be an alert. It could also be used in face detection. So these are all the applications which are there. In addition to this, it can be used in monitoring of weather phenomena. Nowadays you find that there are a lot of unpredictable weather phenomena. So for example, there will be sudden rain or there is a storm coming. So lot of sensors are placed at various locations, and they keep on measuring the wind speed, maybe the atmospheric pressure, etc., and the temperature also. Similar sensors can be employed in agriculture for measuring. For example, one of the applications will be, we have to water the fields. Okay, there is a plantation which is there, and you have to water it, give water to it. Then based on rain prediction, the water we can delay the watering of the plants, or we can give water to the plants based on the prediction that there will be no rain. So sensors can help save a lot of time, resources and energy for the agricultural fields. Also it can detect if there is a for example combined with drone technology, it can be used to measure any significant abnormality. For example, a crop कुछ खराब हो रही है या कुछ उसमें कीड़ा लगने वाला है, so those things can also be detected using it within a combination of, say, a robot or a drone. So those are the applications which are there. Now, so IoT ecosystem, how does it work? So it will be based on some sensors which will collect data. One, they will process it. Third, they will take some action. They might be able to pass on this information to another processor or a central server, or either they can take some action. For example, a typical application in the future might be, or it is possible even today, that your fridge sends you an SMS. So how does a fridge send you an SMS? On the milk shelf, somebody from your family picks up, and that the weight is now 0. So the sensor detects that and it sends you an SMS that milk is empty, please order milk. So it's a very simple application for this IoT. Okay. Then it is also used in smart cities. It is also used in cars. For example, the vehicles of today are now fixed, they are coming with internet. So if there is a overspeeding, then the car might give a warning. If there is something wrong in any automobile system, or the tire pressure is low, it can again give a warning. Similar applications can be developed, and also one must realize that for any technology there can also be a misuse of that. So for example, if somebody can hack into your system, then they can jam your car sitting far away. I mean, they can be maybe few hundred kilometers away, and from there they can jam your car. So we also need to be aware of how does security function. There is a big aspect of security in this area also. So in smart cities, it can be used for traffic management. It can be used, as I said, for electricity management. It can be used for water management. Based on certain activities, the sensors will give signals, and the people concerned, for example, if the water level is rising too much, then the sensors will automatically give a warning signal. If there is too much of traffic expected, or the systems detect that there is a lot of traffic coming for a particular point, then they can give a warning signal. Similarly, I already gave an example of wearable devices. Some wearable devices can be put on to patients who are on critical care. For example, somebody had a heart attack, then his heartbeat and everything, obviously you go to a hospital, you see nowadays a lot of monitoring is happening. So that is all based on IoT devices. It can be made online, and it will give early warnings to the doctors or whoever is the concerned person who has to take some action based on some inputs. So also IoT is being used in warehouses and industrial IoT, that is called. So industrial IoT means that for example, we are ordering a lot of things on Amazon nowadays. So how does Amazon get to know what are the orders coming in? They use some predictive technologies, and based on that also inventory management. So they are aware that this much pieces of this item are there. Also they also know that they predict that in this month we might receive so many orders. So based on that they will order, and they will have the inventory. Also for the security of the premises they might use IoT. You will be surprised to know that very big warehouses are being managed with help of drones IoTs and sensor technology with a very limited workforce. For example, just about 10 to 12 people required for a big 5 to 10 acres of warehouse. So that is the power of this technology. So all security, inventory, etc. has been taken care by this technology in combination with other technologies. Then again, telemedicine, remote monitoring, then remote surgery, etc. in healthcare, that is also a component of IoT, where IoT is being very widely being used. Also, for example, a very simple example is that a lot of people use to prick their needle and then measure their glucose for people with sugar problems. So now there is a patch which is called CGM, continuous glucose monitor, and which you can put on your skin. So once you put that on the skin, it measures your glucose based on the skin cells, and it can send the reading to a reader every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes. So you need not pick. Also, you get a full graph, for example, in a day, how your sugar fluctuated. You can't keep measuring your sugar, say, every half an hour, every 1 hour. It gets very difficult. And also the patients face a lot of problem in pricking the, they get sores there and all that. So this technology can alleviate the pain. So pain come ho jayega because they are not required to now prick their skin. Similarly, there are a lot of devices which are implanted. For example, insulin pumps. For example, heart valves, etc. All of them use IoT with other technologies to get their work done. So in agriculture, as I pointed out, there is a lot of use of IoT. First is measurement of various weather phenomena and climate and etc. etc. Then livestock management. For example, if we use this for large livestock, which can be monitored based on some sensors which are put in the neck of the animal. This is also being used for tracking the wild animals. For example, a recent case was that some cheetahs were brought in by the government of India from Africa, and they are being monitored using their radio collars. That is again an example of IoT technology. Then automated farming. For example, like precision, as I said, like giving whatever water or maybe some urea or other pesticides, etc. in a precise dose. And also, if we use drone, we can do plantations with that also. So that is an advanced technology. Now in some parts of Brazil, drones are being used to pluck the fruits also. So it has already started, ma'am. So drones are being used to pluck the fruit, and they also grade the fruits, because whenever there is a like picking of, say for example, apples, so they are graded. Once they are picked up and then they are graded. But if we use the drone and IoTs, then we can grade it automatically. They will grade it automatically, and then it will be a easier and a faster job, and it will be more accurate also. So environmental monitoring using this IoT can be done. Weather phenomena, hurricanes or other phenomena, floods, etc. can be monitored using this. Habitat conservation, for example, through this one can through this and imaging, we can track which area is being deforested and where there is more construction and all that, and we can take appropriate actions. Now let us come to what are the challenges and what are the concerns when we use this technology. As I mentioned, that any technology has its downside also. So one big problem is data it is a problem worldwide with technology. It is the problem of privacy. When we use sensors to measure, when we use some data, personal data, so that creates a problem of privacy. So one might not like their data to go to any third person or third party. So that is a big concern. So all the governments and technology companies are already working on this, and they are trying to make it more safe and secure. The main thing is that you have to take a consent of the person before storing and using their data. So generally that is the rule. So one has to use consent. They have to agree. उनको हाँ बोलना होगा कि yes, you can use our data. Then interoperability is a big issue. For example, any system, how does it work with another system? For example, if there is one system which is measuring, say, temperature, how does it work with the other systems which are being used there simultaneously? So that is also a problem, because once the data is read and this device gives output in a particular way, so maybe it is not compatible with other devices. So that is a issue in this technology. Then scalability. So scalability means that if we get data from various sources, then how do we have a single way or single platform to process that data? For example, in typically say agricultural setup, we are getting data about temperature, we are getting data about say humidity, we are getting data about air, wind speed, etc., etc. Now all these have different measurements and they have different scales. So now how do we combine it and use it effectively? And that is also a concern. Then also energy efficiency. See, lot of sensors are being used today. Now every sensor will consume some energy. So there has to be some power source through which it operates, and it sends and receives signals. So which means that obviously we are trying to like reduce the effects of that energy which is being used, because already we know that there is a lot of concern about climate change, and we are having a lot of deliberation by government to how to control that. So this adds to that. When we use more and more sensors, which means more and more processing is required, and which means we have to use servers, we have to use electricity and all those things. So that is also a concern. Now let us come to like what will be the future trends in IoT. So at this point of time, so what is happening is that IoT is being deployed by more and more industries. Now the latest to come is 5G technology. As everybody is aware, we have great speeds and lot of data can be transferred using this 5G technology. But again, it is very resource heavy, because it is using a lot of electricity and is using a lot of power basically. So that is a concern. Then we are also combining IoT with artificial intelligence and machine learning. So with that combination, the devices are able to decide a lot of things on their own. They don't need to be monitored. They are already becoming intelligent. So those are the future trends which will keep on happening. So I think now in the next section we can discuss what will be the career, how do we get into this IoT, and what will be the future like career paths one can take, and what kind of industries one can work with. Okay.
Definitely, we have discussed in detail what IoT is, and we can well predict that, as you have yourself said here, जिसमें हम ये निकाल सकते हैं बात, ये रोजमर्रा की जो आम जनजीवन की जो चीज़ें हैं उससे सरोकार है IoT का, और अगर उसे हम अपनी पर्सनल लाइफ में उसका एप्लीकेशन ढूंढे तो हमें हर जगह महसूस होगा कि IoT का यहाँ पर इस्तेमाल है. सो हम यही कहना चाहेंगे कि ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स हु आर वाचिंग अस राइट नाउ, यू हैव मेनी क्वेश्चंस इन योर माइंड एंड यू वांट योर क्वेश्चंस टू बी आंसर्ड. And yes, friends, you have this golden opportunity to ask questions from Mr. Rakesh Bhatia as he is here with us. But we would like to tell you all that you have this opportunity as well as you have the opportunity to learn more and more from Mr. Rakesh Bhatia. So we would request you all to keep listening us deliberately, keep asking us as in when you feel. So we would be discussing more on this particular topic. Thank you for watching us.